Well, hello everybody. Welcome to the new year of our EverQuest Next podcast. With the new year, we have a new name, the Bazaar. Hope everybody likes it. We're gonna call each
How
other
bizarre,
the
how
Bazaar.
bizarre.
Ooh, baby. Okay, but with me, it's been a little while since we've done an EQ podcast, but I'd like to welcome Steelheart, Liette,
Hey.
and Naudica.
Hello.
Steel, how was your holidays?
Really, really good, sir. How about yourself?
Oh, went well until I got sick right after, but now doing well. How about you, Liette?
It was busy and really cold. I went up to New York and they get snow. They get lots of snow, and I'm glad I don't have that much snow where I am in Virginia. So,
What
yay!
is
But I survived.
Snow?
Y'all can have that snow stuff.
I know.
I know we feel bad over here in California, right, Nautica? We're like everyone's like freezing to death, and we're like, man, it's like 70, and
Yeah, hard life, 67
I
degrees.
wish it would like sprinkle or something.
And
Yeah, it was a little
Sunny days.
overcast today. It was clouds.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Clouds. It was sad.
it was nice because the sun wasn't blinding us the whole day. So
Yeah. So welcome to the Bazaar, an EverQuest Next podcast. We're all part of Grievance, a multi-guild organization, and so welcome. We have a lot to talk about since we've been away a little while, and there seems to be a lot of things to talk about, including Alpha.
Yeah, any day now.
Yeah,
any
day
week
now.
at least.
Yeah, because it all started with the tweet that Smed sent out, right?
Yep, and then Georgeson answered Michigander. Michigander yesterday on Twitter. Michigander was tweeting that he couldn't wait for EverQuest Next, and Georgeson said second half of January.
Yep.
So
what's
pretty
the
cool.
ninth? We're getting close to the second half of January, and we keep looking at our emails every day. Hopefully, we get an alpha invite or get an idea of when the date comes. And as soon as we get that email, I'm sure we won't be able to talk about it. So,
Oh, 1 second.
yeah,
Here you go, Strig.
yeah. Strig, he wanted you to whip it out. He wanted you to see it. Okay, there you go, Strig. So, anyways, we have a lot to talk about. There's a lot of roundtable questions that came out that we haven't been able to go over since we were away for a few weeks for the holidays. But we'll get right into it with our first one, which is one of my favorites because this is a topic that I think a lot of other, like you think of the most popular MMOs like World of Warcraft or EverQuest 1 and stuff. Should there be multiple starting areas? So the options that they gave us were four. There should, yes, but the areas should be limited based on factors like race or class. So each race have their own starting area. Yes, there should be multiple options, and I should be able to choose any of them. Or yes, there should be multiple starting areas, and I should be placed in the world based on population or other game needs. Or no, everyone start in one zone. What do you guys think about this?
Oh, first one.
Yeah.
Racial based, of course. Elves belong in trees, dwarves belong in caves. I mean, racial based.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It sounds so like racist. They belong there.
Get in your cave, son.
Yeah, get in your cave, get in your
Back
tree.
up in the
you
tree.
elves. Yeah, yes, yes. And so what about you, Nautica, when it comes to starting zones for games?
I agree 100%. I mean, it works out well. Night elves in WoW were in the trees. The dwarves were in the mountains. I mean, I think it's weird to not have it that way because if you're gonna have lore in a game and you're gonna have where a race is gonna originate from, you need to have a starting place. You need to have a home to call. So, I think having it based on race is the best way to go.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, and to like, I always, I mean, I know the reasons why there's a lot of MMOs have one starting zone, but like to write the lore and everything to make it so that all the races start in one zone, it's just like, to me, it loses that. Like, ever since EverQuest 1, I've been playing, and it's like everyone starts in I don't need 1,000 people around me in one zone, right? Like,
think about EverQuest 1, what they did. You had your wood elves and your high elves that started in different starting zones. But then once they got out of there, actually the wood elves were in Greater Fey, but they kind of had a common next zone after they got through the first 7 to 10 levels. They had a common zone they shared, and then the next zone, more races came in until all the races in North shared the same zones. Yeah. But it was a progression type thing. They introduced you to other races little by little.
Yeah. Yeah, and EQ's like that now. EQ2 is like kind of like that now. But I mean, it started off with one zone, the starting isles, right? And then you got to go to like different home zones or whatever. That wasn't its own zone, and I think it kind of lost. Yeah, it kind of lost that. Now they got rid of the home zones.
They're all
right?
Buildings.
They don't have the home zones anymore. They got rid of those, and they used them for different purposes. But I think that it loses that immersion feeling that, oh, these people are from here, these people are from there. And so for EverQuest next, to start off with people just starting in one zone, there's been mention that it's just going to be starting in one zone or maybe another zone. Or
Well, why? Let's just build them a starting zone in Landmark.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's what they're saying, though, is like maybe at the beginning it is going to be one zone, but we're essentially in next forming the world. And so eventually we're going to spread to other areas, and all of a sudden a year from now there's going to be an elf starting area because we took out whatever evil thing was in the elf starting area.
Think about it. If they go through and they see player creations and multiple organizations or people have built castles and starting areas, you may see multiple human starting areas like we saw of Kinos and Freeport. So there could be 3, 4, 5 starting areas humans could start at.
Yeah, eventually.
And elves and so forth and so on.
Yeah, yeah. And so I think...
go
ahead, Naudica.
I was just saying, it'd be kind of a cool idea I was thinking right now would be, what if like you did build a castle, and it's a clan castle, and what if your clan members who join the guild spawn, or their starting spot becomes that clan castle, where you're building your own lore for your guild in the game?
That's another good idea.
Yeah.
That's awesome, actually.
And the weird, like, because we keep talking about building stuff, and because we're so used to, we know more about Landmark than we do EverQuest Next right now. But if they're asking this question, it's like, okay, hopefully there is some hope. They're not going to just go to the cheap route and do one zone because, oh, we want to make sure there's enough people in one zone 2 months after the game launches, right? But like, to me, in games that have multiple starting zones, I never felt like, oh, they need to take away all these starting zones because I wish we were all together and stuff. Like, even if it's empty, it's like, okay, I'm running around and I'm the only dwarf right now in this area. There might be 20 elves running around somewhere, but I'm the only dwarf, and so on.
And I know it's a bit more work from a development point of view, but the immersion factor is worth it. It really is. To the players, the immersion factor is really worth it. That's like the start of the game,
right? Like, new people are coming. This is the start. And
I mean, Liette, when you created your high elf, how would you have liked to have started in a cave?
Well, based on lore, she would not be in a cave. Thank you. Way too posh for the cave. But I remember in EQ1 making the high elf and starting in Felwith, and how sweet was that? And like the idiot little 15-year-old I was, I went out and trained a whole bunch of bats back to the guards, and somebody yelled at me, and it was fine. I'm really sorry for the person I trained on. If you're watching this, my bad. But
I've held a grudge this long.
That's
I really wouldn't blame him. It was a lot of bats, man.
That's the trained lady.
It was bad. Yeah. That's that blonde chick. Anyway, and I loved being in different places throughout the world because you, for one, get a big scope of the world itself. You see all these different environments, which I know the devs are concerned about, and two, it really does immerse you into your character and the community. So yeah, I think it's really important to have those different areas available to you. Even if you can choose as a human between Kinos and Freeport, that's cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
You're not starting in a cave. Not the same place everybody else is.
So we don't know how much of this they're actually going to take into consideration, but 62% of the votes were for limited on race, but multiple starting zones, just like we want.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next closest one was 26%, where there should be multiple options and they get to choose. And so the percentage for everybody to start in one zone is 3%. So I'm not sure if they should listen, but it seems like they should, right? Like everyone, whatever the options were, one starting zone just doesn't seem like it's going to cut it. So we'll see how they listen or what they do about it. But one of the next questions that we've missed during the holidays was, what type of specialty server would you be most likely to play on, or what type do you play on in other games? I don't know if any of us care about specialty servers or whether we should have them or not. I know Naudica might care, but the options: no specialty servers, role-playing, PvP, hardcore, or special rule sets like no trade restrictions.
I really like Steele's answer to this one, and I see why. And I'm just going to piggyback on that, but go ahead, Steele.
Well, I took a different approach on this one. Obviously, I'm a PvE player. I have been. I like my PvP, but I like it when I like it. I don't want to be picking daisies, mining, or killing 10 rats when somebody comes up behind me and decides, hey, it's a good day to die. No, not why I'm picking daisies. That's not a good day to die.
Why are you picking daisies?
For EverQuest. But no pun intended. But I voted for a PvP server. And not for me personally, but give the PvPers their own server so they can have an open world PvP where they can kill whoever they want to, whenever they want to, and leave my PvE alone.
Yep. Stay off our server.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I never even thought about it that way, but that actually seems like a cool vote for this, so that you don't have to deal with them.
More power to it. I have nothing against PvP. I like it when I like it, but when I don't want a PvP, I don't want a PvP, and I don't want my server rule set and my gameplay and the bouncing and everything to be based on PvP on my server.
Yeah, and
give them their own server. Let them beat each other senseless.
And Steel, I'm so impressed right now because it's like you're speaking without your mouth moving, and it's really
your video
pretty
pros
cool.
on you, bud.
You're like a ventriloquist, like an amazing one.
Sweet.
It is really neat. Yeah.
You're not even moving your head. It's like
awesome.
So if you want to restart your camera.
Yeah.
Yep. So you have this concerned look on your face, though.
I do have a concerned look on my face.
You're like,
that's pretty interesting.
PvP needs to be on PvP. So, yeah.
All right, logging out of Skype for just a second.
Okay. It's gonna ruin everything.
This is gonna look real funky.
Okay. So anyways, what about you, Liette? I know you said you're piggybacking on Steele's comments, but
Well, I completely agree about PvP. I would prefer not to be out there looking at the world and going, oh, look at the sky today. It is so pretty. Ooh, because I do that a lot. Because it's pretty, darn it. And I've played other games in which it was open world PvP, and I would be out there doing a quest and all excited because, oh my gosh, there's that one mob I needed. I'ma beat it. And then all of a sudden, this big old mob of angry people comes along. And they're like, oh, there's Liette looking up at the sky like a ditz. I'm going to kill that. So, yes, having their own server is fabulous to me.
yeah.
All for it.
Yeah, and I know most of the time for me, I'd always choose, like, if I could, the role-playing server, just because I know it's the answer everyone always gives, but that it just seems like if there's going to be a server you're going to choose role-playing, because there's that little bit more percentage of serious people playing on that server rather than the kids or the EPing people and yeah. So Naudica, as a PvPer / first person shooter player, do you prefer any?
Well, when it comes to MMOs, I play with my wife a lot of times, so she's a PvEer. So when it comes to the MMO gameplay, I go on the role playing side because my PvP side comes on the FPS. So I'll be playing role playing. I mean, there's no doubt about that. But I think it's interesting that they have the hardcore and the special rule set, because it'd be kind of cool if people get to put their own rules out there on a server, to where maybe you have like a designated little PvP zone, or you can have a no trading zone, or kind of make your server be whatever you want it to be.
Yeah.
I kind of like the customization rule set a little bit myself.
Okay. So, little different answers, and they want to listen. So, for all we know, they could have all these, right? There could be that serious server where everyone has permadeath or whatever.
And for the most part, EverQuest 1 did. They had the roleplay servers, the PvP servers. They had a few special rule set servers.
Yeah, and especially now, like the ones that, like the classic servers, that will start off at the beginning of the game and have the expansion come out whenever they're unlocked and stuff. So yeah, we could see everything, but I'm sure we'll get a roundtable response on that and find out what they decide, or maybe see into what they're thinking under that. But now the third question. In Landmark, so specifically in Landmark, all these answers the community kind of surprised me with this one, but what kind of building do you think you'll participate in? Would you be solo, small group, large group / guild, massive / open community, or any and all types of building, solo or group? What do you guys see yourself building?
The answers here surprised me, to be honest with you. I figured there would be a lot of guilds, organizations planning on going into Landmark and building massive things as a team building effort, because, well, that's how I've played MMOs my entire life, is as a team. Whether, always in a guild for the most part. And so it really surprised me that actually was not a high percentage of the vote.
Yeah. Well, because when I first saw it, that surprised me too. But I think it's almost misleading that they have all of the above under it too, because now the 45% of the people aren't specifying, oh, I'm going to do massive guilds or massive open community, but they want to do all of it, because I can see myself doing solo, or doing a two-person building project, or a guild project and stuff. So I'm all of the above too. But it surprised me how 29% only see themselves doing Han-style building. They're going solo. So do you guys expect yourselves to just build by yourselves in an MMO, massively multiplayer online role-playing game?
I'm too lazy.
No, I'm not. Yeah.
I'm too lazy.
You're too lazy.
I'm too lazy. I'll be logged in, and I'll be like,
no, he's gonna be the guy on the buying all the pieces from the shops and just building it. And that's it.
I'll be like, I'll see Steel and Liette on. I'll be like, hey, what do you guys need? We need a little wall here. Okay, I'll go build a little wall, but I'm not gonna build the whole tower or anything else. I'll just build this little wall. There you go, done.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna build a building. That's not happening.
What are you doing on this cast? I'm not gonna build. I don't want to build. I want to destroy. You're a PvPer.
It was like when I played Minecraft. When I played Minecraft, I was like the worst Minecraft player in the world. Because like I log on, I'm like, oh man, it's getting dark, guys. Do you guys like have a place for me to stay? And they were like, oh yeah, come over here. So I like run over there. Like, are you gonna build a place up? I was like, I might. So like I run around and like, what are you doing out here in this like little green area? I'm trying to figure out how to like dig, and I'm trying to figure out how to put all these things together. I was like, man, that's too complicated. I'm just gonna stay at your place again. So like, it took me like 3 weeks just to figure out like how to build a wall and stuff. And I mean, I don't know.
Naudica's gonna be Landmark's first hobo. Build yourself something.
Right.
I don't want to build anything. Just let me stay in your castle.
You can hang at my bar, man. It's okay.
Yeah, Liette's shack. Liette's shack. So how about
shack is
you, Liette?
where we throw the people out of the bar.
Yep.
I do think the last option is most appropriate for most of the community, especially ours, because Grievance does want group projects and on a very large scale. But a lot of it will be asking folks, hey, can you make this? And then shoot us the template. We've got all these resources piled, and we'll add it to the overall structure. So it's going to be a big combination of things, and will be wonderful. And I see why they had such, an outpouring of people saying solo and group and, everything you can imagine. Because it's Landmark, it's a sandbox. Everybody wants to try everything.
Yeah.
So keep your options open, and as long as we're not limited, I think most of the community will be happy.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna focus on solo building as far as, I mean, they're making an MMO. Of course, they want people to be able to build together and work together on giant projects. Because, like, to me, like, could you imagine? Like, I didn't even think of like community wide. Like, what if they had this whole continent or this whole huge area that just had big walls around it, and they're like, this is so and so city. And what if you could buy plots inside a city and everyone could build whatever they want on that little plot, and all of a sudden you have this like city going up, and it's a truly player built city. Like, you walk in, and I mean, it might look completely different and ugly, but like it's almost like a real city. Like, people are just, it starts spreading out from the middle, and
and that's exactly how Star Wars Galaxies worked. Is the mayor could sanction somebody to build on the land that the city was on. So you would set your boundaries with the people and say, don't build in this area, which would typically be like a town green or something. And then people would go put a building somewhere. So each city took on its own architecture, so to speak, skyline, so to speak, because that's how it was. It was truly a player-built city. There were certain city-based structures, but once all those got placed, you just told somebody, they said, hey, I'd like to be part of your city. All right. What size house you going to put? And they said, large or small or giant or whatever. And you say, well, this area over here, this area over here. And, I mean, just poof, it went up, and it was cool.
Yeah, that'd be cool. And so we'll see. It, like, they keep on saying, like, whatever your imagination can think of, it's possible in this game. You think of Minecraft and what they build, just imagine that by 100, more detailed, more people. What's go wrong? Everything, actually. So anyways, they did have a roundtable response, number 19, about landmark building styles. And so for EQ and landmark, which of the following styles would you most likely build? And so they had fantasy, sci-fi, real world, historical, pop culture. I think most of us are here for fantasy, right? Like,
hoorah!
EverQuest, fantasy. And so this is kind of like a one-sided question, because obviously everyone following these questions are EverQuest fans and they're fantasy people. So we're going to all vote fantasy. Like, we're not sitting here being like, oh, I wish this was more like WildStar, so I'm going to vote sci-fi or futuristic. Like, I think it'd be cool to build different things, like, just to test it, but I'm really here for the fantasy setting of EverQuest.
Yeah, that, or I could see it bleeding over into something like steampunk a little bit.
Yeah. Like,
maybe a little bit, because that's got high fantasy in it.
Yeah.
Especially for gnomes.
Absolutely, but I wouldn't go much further than steampunk. I mean, I don't want to see X-Wing fighters or Starship Enterprise or, I know, Dash, I'm sorry.
We're going to see that. We're going to see that.
Sub, I'll do it.
Yep.
Well, you can make it. I really wanted to know what in the world they were talking about with pop culture. Did they expect some big Lady Gaga sculpture covered in meat?
I don't
know.
know.
Now somebody's going to do that now that you said it.
Yeah.
Have fun.
I don't know.
But,
yeah.
I was wondering what they were going for.
Yeah. So
Andy Warhol or something, or I don't know.
Yeah, pop culture. That's why it has 1%. There was like 2 people. They were like, yes, whatever.
Everybody else was confused.
Whatever that means. Yes.
Yeah.
So how about for you, Naudica?
Whatever Stills tells me to build, I'll build it.
I thought you weren't building.
Well,
I don't know how to build, but I'm sure Stills gonna be like, if you put this component with this component, you put it up here, and
build a wall, copy paste,
it'll go. And I'm like, perfect, I'm done.
Yeah.
Can I have a night free of rent now?
You said, yeah, you sound like some hired worker. You're not really in the guild. You're just, oh, that's our hired worker. That's Naudica.
Go Naudica.
Yep. Go. Build this. But he's only gonna build half of it, and then sleep.
Yeah.
So yeah. So fantasy.
There's zombies coming. Whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
In the basement.
I'm going to your house.
Exactly.
Okay. So fantasy
crash
setting.
on your couch.
80% of the people wanted fantasy. So very one-sided. So yeah. Then they went on to mention a little bit about the building, and because everyone wanted fantasy, and they said, "Oh, great, because we happen to be building a fantasy MMO called EverQuest Next, that's coming up after Landmark." And it's like, "Oh, really?" So they said that they have a lot of props that they're already building for the fantasy setting, obviously, to use in their actual building of EverQuest Next. So they just described a little bit that voxels are like the building blocks, so how we're going to build our castles and the mountains and the tree, all that's, or not most of the trees actually, those are props. But like everything you see in the world that you're going to build, those are made out of voxels. But then they're going to have props, which are like things you place like an EQ2 with the housing. So there might be a chair, a table, a tree, a plant, an oven, like anything you could think of. They're going to start making props for all of these. And so they're talking about how we could use these props for our buildings. Like they mentioned, there were just barrels. And so if you ever remember the mech that they had, that he built, like his guns were actually made out of barrels. And so they're talking about props that could be used in multiple ways. And what we'd like to see, like someone used a water wheel to make an airship. So the wheels were on the side of the airship and it just looked like, yeah, or they just used a big piece of fabric that might be for a bed or a tapestry or something. They use that as a sail to make their airship. And so they wanted to know what props could we think of. I don't know if we can think of anything off the top of our heads, but what props would you like to see that would help you build in multiple ways? Not just think of a prop for one specific reason, but a prop that can be used for multiple things. And if you look at EverQuest 2 housing, you could see how people can use one prop to do 1,000 things that you never would even think of.
We saw some pretty amazing things when it came to guild halls and housing in EverQuest 2, and there were some really, really innovative uses for, like you said, common chairs and boxes and whatever. Even pictures were used in interesting ways.
Yeah. So
I think if they break down common objects, like give us rods of all random things, but just a long rod that you could repaint, which they've indicated we'll be able to do. That could be used to put together multiple pieces of rope to make a rope bridge. That could be used as supports and pieces of beams. It could be used in fencing. There are lots and lots and lots of things. So rather than focusing on full-on objects, I think they could throw us bits and pieces of stuff and get away with it really well too, as long as we customize a bit.
Yeah.
So something like that. I don't know how easy it is to make, a straight line and cylindrical, but
we'll see.
That kind of thing's really cool.
I hope they give us the ability to create things that are functional, like if you make a boat, being able to make it move on the water. Stuff like that I would really like to see. I'd like to see it in the future. Wagons that the wheels turned and actually moved.
Mm-hmm.
Physics actually in EverQuest.
Physics.
Yeah.
Minecraft had ways of doing some stuff like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like mechanics and switches and electricity, and we'll see. Do you want electricity in your fantasy setting? Or it'd be magic?
No.
It would be magic.
Just magic.
I'm going to switch on the magic.
Switch on the magic.
Yeah.
Well, unless it fits. I could see the gnomes coming up with steam engines, that kind of thing. So that's fair.
Sails.
Or coal power with the dwarves, because obviously they're miners.
Coal power.
Indeed. So things like that make sense in a fantasy realm. Innovations that they could have logically made. Not, oh, we have light bulbs now. Edison the gnome showed up.
Jet engines.
Yeah, jet engines, yeah.
Not that.
Okay.
And I think they have to do that to make the game, to go that next generation, right? Because we've already have Minecraft. So to make it to go to that next level of ingenuity in a game, you have to kind of go to that route to make it successful. Now, whether you're going to do it off the bat, I don't know. But I wouldn't be shocked to see them have what we're asking for and more, because they're really putting a lot behind this sandbox type of mentality and actually doing a comparison to Minecraft. Minecraft has a lot of building, and that's a pretty bold statement.
Very true.
Yeah.
Very true.
Got to top Minecraft. So yes.
Well, just by the graphics alone, it will.
Yep. Yep. And we haven't even seen anything yet, and we haven't even got in there yet. So let's wait and see for the next couple weeks, and we cannot talk about what we're doing. Yes, but they came out with a developer diary on procedural content. Like, how are they creating this world? For Landmark, are they personally placing every single item in it? Well, they mentioned no, but let's watch this quick video real quick to see what they're talking about.
Hello everyone, I'm Terry Michael, Senior Producer for EverQuest Next and EverQuest Next Landmark.
And I'm Rosie Rappaport, Senior Art Director for EverQuest Next and EverQuest Next Landmark.
And we wanted to talk a little bit about how we create the world of Landmark. When we first started making it, we knew that we didn't want to create the world in the way that we had in previous games. The world for Landmark needs to be giant, it needs to be huge. There always needs to be something for people to go explore through, find new areas, find a part of the world they like, whatever it may be. So we couldn't go down the path of handcrafting everything in the world. It would just take way too long, and people would consume that content long before we could create more of it.
That's right. So we started out trying to define what the artistic look was that we wanted. So we created concept art that was just, if we could have anything we wanted, this is what it would be. And it was as beautiful as we could make it. And then we created these, what we call field guides, that sort of spell out all the details that give these areas personality. And then we went in and started creating all the pieces and parts that would go together to create these concept pieces, like mountains, hills, as well as all the trees, rocks, and all of the materials like the dirt and the grass.
And then we needed to take those and we needed to turn them into environments in the world. So we created a procedural system that allows us to set up rules and relationships between things. And then by taking all of this together, we could basically press a button and generate a continent that looks handcrafted, but that we can create much more rapidly than we were able to do before.
So for Landmark, we wanted to create 5 environments to start with that had a lot of variety to them. So that as players are moving through them, they really get a sense of adventure and difference between these regions. We have the hot volcanic area that is taking inspiration from Lava Storm, the cool forest like Kino's Hills, an arid desert like the Desert of Roe, and a colorful deciduous forest like Feydark, as well as the snowy Everfrost region.
So speaking of that snowy Everfrost area, we wanted to take this opportunity to show you guys what that looks like in-game. So here it is. Anyway, have a happy holiday season, and we look forward to seeing you in the game next year.
So yeah, they talked a lot about procedural content and how the game's gonna pretty much automatically build itself. And so when I first saw the ending to that, when they showed the Everfrost region, I thought it looked plain. Like, because I was thinking Everfrost, like you think of Everfrost in EQ1 or 2, and just like different mountains, or I don't know, just different stuff. Like especially in EQ2, like I remember the first time I saw ice in EQ2 and like a tunnel or something, and it just like it looked amazing. And so when I saw that, I was like, it looks kind of plain. It just looked like a little valley with trees in it. But I forget they're not making EverQuest Next. They're making procedural content for us to build in, and so eventually we're gonna fill that valley. So what did you guys think of them using procedural content? So they're not gonna hand place everything. Does it matter to you, or is it just this is good enough for us to get in there and pretty much destroy whatever it automatically builds, and we can place whatever we want?
I really like it, because why waste their time putting in all these detailed environments, such as what Elder Scrolls might do? I mean, they cover every inch of their game, and there's no point in that in Landmark, because we're going to come and change it.
Yeah.
And we're going to break it down, and we're going to add a cave where there wasn't a cave there before. And right in the middle of Everfrost, somebody might decide that's a really great place to make tropical and throw in some lava, because. So, no, I think that's really, really smart and the best use of their time. So,
Yeah, exactly.
good choice.
Yep.
I think eventually it's by the time the actual EverQuest next game comes out, it's going to be a combination. There's going to be a lot of areas that players are going to have developed and put anything from trees to rocks to houses to what have you. But there's also going to be areas where the developers are going to have to go in and flush out a little bit that players didn't touch for one reason or another, whether they thought the area just looked boring or whether they just thought another area looked better.
Yeah, or we could change it to look better. So, like, and so the procedural helps with like your mining and your gathering and everything, because they said it was going to change every day. So like, you'd go dig and get your gold out of one cave, and then the next day you go dig in that same cave, or go dig in that same spot and make a cave, and the gold's not there anymore. And so the procedural content will kind of help with that as the world heals itself. But they did show off the snowy area. They mentioned there's gonna be 5 right now, for 5 areas for Landmark. The volcanic area, which is kind of like Lava Storm, the cool forest, which is like Kinos Hills, the colorful forest, which is like Fadark, the desert, like the Desert of Roe, and the snowy area like Everfrost. Good enough for you guys? 5 different areas.
It's a good start.
Yep, good start. How about you, Naudica?
Yeah, I think having 5 is great to have. It's better than 4, 3, 2, or 1.
I never thought about your point, but
but I mean, you know, they have an ice area, a fire, desert, forests.
yeah.
I think those are all given, though. I mean, from what they've shown, I think that's an expectation from everybody, anyways.
Yeah, I
from
think
all
the
the
I think
tourism.
I think the last one they were missing was the snow. Like we hadn't seen it yet. Now we saw snow in Landmark, and so we do have another video though that shows off what like a desert, not desert, like a tropical area would be like. And so to me it kind of just looks like the same grass area with 2 different trees. But let's take a look anyways. So a short video, but just showing what tropical areas would look like. And so you see the big trees, like almost like trees you would see in like in a rainforest, but it also showed a lot of, I like how she stood there and changed the land. It was like
I thought that was the coolest thing about the whole video was the hand motions where she was going like that and then like that. I thought that was awesome.
yeah, like I wouldn't even
Matter of
think
fact, I was watching that more than I was the actual building.
like the character would actually move, so it looks like they're using the force or something. Like
Exactly.
changing it.
I really like that they added that detail. It connects you more to your avatar, as it were,
Yeah,
and makes them more than just props themselves. So really sweet.
definitely cool. Any thoughts on the tropical? I don't know how much tropical we saw, but
I'm sure they'll be adding more props to make it even more tropical.
yeah, exactly. Like I was like, where's more tropical? Like I felt like it was just different trees in the same area, but
Well, it might be up to us to make it more tropical too.
yeah, exactly. That's true. That's true. Like a huge, densely populated forest with animals and tigers and monkeys. And
Huts and
yeah,
vines
huts,
and
huts,
stuff.
huts and vines.
Well,
and,
remember,
and a spacecraft.
some of the things that a lot of the player base is hoping we're going to be able to do one day is build our own quest, our own dungeons, our own adventures. So you may have it to where there's an island that you have to get to by boat, and that's part of your quest. So there's your tropical setting right there, and there's a hut on the island.
Yeah, yeah. So we'll see. We don't know, but it's kind of cool now to see more of the areas, different props going in, like the trees and the snow and everything, and so it'd be exciting to see what else they've done in the past, because we haven't really had many updates since the holidays and everyone's been off work, and so it's going to be kind of cool to see what they're going to show in the next couple weeks before Alpha comes out. And so speaking of what they're going to show, I don't know if everyone else got an email today, but they're having kind of a showing off Alpha party on the 31st in San Diego, which they're going to live stream, and we're invited if we can go. I live in California, so I could be there, but it's in San Diego, which is like 8-hour drive away from me, and so I don't know if I'm going to drive down to San Diego to see that. But you can if you want to.
Oh, I would.
Yeah.
I was 8 hours away. I'd drive in a heartbeat.
What? Really? What if
Absolutely.
what if you watch the live stream and it's just like everyone sitting in a little office and here
But
it
you
is.
get to play it.
Yeah, but what if Alpha starts before that?
And there's a good chance it will, according to all the information we heard. But just a chance to get over there, get to talk to the developers, hopefully a little one-on-one, pick their brain a little bit. I mean, it's one thing when you see them talk about their vision on a cast like us, like we're doing now. But another one when you actually meet a developer and you're talking face to face, and you can hear the passion in their voice and see the passion in their eyes, just how much they really, really care about the game. And sometimes you might even pick up little hints about what's coming real soon, what they're working on next, and not to mention just the camaraderie being out there. It's kind of like our get-togethers with the Grievance organization. A lot of people watched it on Steam, or not Steam, but on Twitch, but it wasn't the same as being there, I promise.
Yeah. Oh, definitely not. Definitely not. So it's all about the passion. That's
All about the passion.
See the passion in their eyes. And so if you can go on the 31st, if you got I'm not sure if they only sent the email out to those who signed up or who bought a Founders Pack, or if they sent it out to everybody. But check your email. Look, see if you can go. It'd be kind of cool to go meet the developers and check out.
Now, Naudica, you're close too, aren't you?
He's as close as me.
Yeah, I'm about 7.5, 8 hours away too.
Yeah.
There you go, you on carpool.
There. Naudica, you ready to spend 8 hours together in a car? Yes.
I might as well fly down there.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, it's almost cheaper to fly
Yeah.
down to San
Really?
Diego, yeah, than to pay for the gas to go down there. It's like I can get a flight to LA for $70 or whatever from here. So
Oh, there you go.
yeah, and that takes like half an hour, 45 minutes. So we'll see. And so that's all the news that we have for our first cast of the year here on the Bazaar. And so we want to thank everyone for being on and joining us and being in the chat and talking and everything. So Steelheart, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, Liette. And
Thank you for having me.
And Naudica.
Anytime.
Thanks for your PvP insight and outside of the box kind of thoughts.
I tried.
Yes, but we have this Saturday is the next cast that we'll be having, our Star Citizen cast. So you can join Thaman on there. That'll be Saturday at 7 CST, right? Steve?
6, I believe.
Okay, 6 CST. Or whatever standard daylight
Central
savings.
Standard Time.
Yeah, that. And then on Sunday we'll have our Grievance Newscast and our Final Fantasy cast. So if you want to watch those here on Twitch, or you can catch up and watch them on YouTube at Grievance Gaming on YouTube. Follow our channel. You can get all the updates and everything. You follow us here on Twitch, or subscribe so that you can get that update whenever we're going live. If you'd like to watch things live and chat with everybody, or chat with people in Grievance who are watching, you can follow us on Twitter at Grievance Gaming, or follow me at Dashivah on Twitter and get all the updates there too. And go to grievancegaming.org if you'd like to join us and play with us and get ready for EverQuest next. Then you can go there. And so that's it from us. Thanks everybody for watching, and everyone, you have a good night.